Most people let the spiritual power of the pre-dawn hours go to waste. King Solomon, the wisest and wealthiest man who ever lived, had a secret habit that most are unaware of, a practice that could completely reshape the way you experience your days. Have you ever wondered why certain men and women, even when facing immense challenges, seem to possess an invisible strength that allows them to prosper? Have you ever asked yourself why some people wake up refreshed, with mental clarity and doors opening before them, while others remain trapped in cycles of exhaustion, scarcity, and despair? There is something hidden in the quietest moments of the early morning when the entire world seems to be asleep, yet the heavens remain open, waiting for those who dare to connect. Solomon understood this mystery. He didn't just accumulate material wealth, he accessed a wisdom so profound that it is revered to this day. The secret wasn't merely in his prayers, but in when and how he aligned his mind and spirit to receive divine instructions. And that is precisely what you are about to discover. What Solomon did before sleeping wasn't just a ritual, it was a key. When used, this key has the power to shape the following day, open unexpected pathways, and turn ordinary nights into encounters with the unseen. Imagine if every time you laid your head on the pillow, instead of filling your mind with worries, you could sow energies and thoughts that would return to you, multiplied as blessings, the very next morning. What would happen if you began to use the early hours as a secret gateway for the manifestation of your dreams? Think about it. The pre-dawn is when the conscious mind goes quiet, when the body is most surrendered, and when the heart can speak with God without distractions. It is in this moment that spiritual secrets become more accessible because there is no external noise, only the sound of your spirit seeking connection. Solomon knew this, and you will learn to apply this wisdom today. But be aware. What I am about to reveal is not just a beautiful theory or a vague teaching. These are biblical principles that, when applied, yield results. However, there is a crucial detail. The third revelation is the most powerful of all. It is the one that completes this spiritual cycle and unlocks the abundance that many search for years without finding. So, stay with me until the end of this video, because it is this final key that will completely transform the way you see your nights, and consequently, your days. Perhaps you are going through a time when you feel that everything is repetitive, that your nights are filled with anxiety and your days are heavy, lacking anything new. Maybe you feel like you've tried everything, but nothing seems to change. The truth is, there is a spiritual force at work in the silence, and how you position yourself before sleep determines whether you will align with the flow of abundance or remain stuck in a cycle of scarcity. And here's the good news. You get to choose. You can reprogram your subconscious, align your energy with the Word, and transform the spiritual atmosphere around you. Before we continue, I want to extend a simple yet powerful invitation. If you wish to dive even deeper into practices that will accelerate this transformation process, I have left special material for you in the first pinned comment. It's something that will complement what we are revealing here, helping you to expand your consciousness even further and manifest the life you truly want to live. After you finish this video, go to the pinned comment and access it, because I am certain it will be a turning point in your journey. Now bring your full attention to this moment. Imagine you are standing before a revelation that has been hidden for centuries and is now being brought to you. Ask yourself, am I ready to receive and apply what could change the course of my life? Because that is exactly what is about to happen. The early morning will never be the same after what you are about to learn. The silence of the pre-dawn holds secrets that few dare to uncover. When everything seems quiet and the world is asleep, something happens in the invisible realm. Spiritual portals open, and it's as if reality becomes more malleable, ready to be shaped by those who know what to do with this moment. Solomon, in all his wisdom, understood this deeply. He knew that rest was not just physical but spiritual, and that the hours leading up to sleep are seeds sown in the fertile ground of the mind. It is no coincidence that the Bible declares, "He gives to his beloved even in his sleep." This phrase holds a powerful mystery. While many believe that sleep is merely a state of rest, those with spiritual eyes perceive that sleep is a process of surrender. When the body rests, the soul opens up. And it is in this space that divine instructions are released, the heart can be reprogrammed, and the future begins to be written. But here is the key detail. The way you fall asleep determines the harvest you will reap upon waking. If you fall asleep with fear, worry, anger, or frustration, your subconscious receives these seeds and multiplies them, creating heavy, burdensome, and repetitive days. But if, like Solomon, you learn to use the power of the early morning to align your mind and spirit with the Word of God, what happens is extraordinary. You wake up carrying unseen blessings, doors open effortlessly, and life begins to flow in harmony with your deepest desires. This is why Solomon's first secret before sleeping was to prepare his heart for abundance. He understood that the mind is like fertile soil and that every thought held at the moment of rest germinates during the night. Perhaps you have already noticed this in your own life. How many times have you fallen asleep worried and woken up even heavier, as if the night had stolen your strength? It's not that the night stole anything, but rather that it gave you back exactly what you gave it before closing your eyes. The power of the law of attraction is deeply connected to this. When Solomon would retire for the night, he would meditate, reflect on the wisdom God had poured into his life, and surrender his soul in gratitude. He knew that what he placed in his mind before sleeping would become reality at dawn. This shows us something profound. The thoughts we carry into sleep do not die. They create. And what have you been allowing to be created in your life? Many live imprisoned by repeating patterns because, without realizing it, they feed their subconscious with images of scarcity, defeat, and lack. And the subconscious does not argue, judge, or question. It simply accepts and manifests. This is why Solomon knew that when he lay down, he needed to surrender not just his body, but also his mind, purified and aligned with the divine. Now I want you to reflect with me. What would your life be like if every night became an encounter with abundance? Imagine falling asleep and, instead of feeling fear or anxiety, feeling the certainty that tomorrow is already blessed. Imagine waking up with clarity, lightness, and visible signs that what you desired is beginning to manifest. This is the promise hidden in Solomon's secrets. And here we come to the second mystery, the pre-dawn as a transition point. While many see the early morning as just a time of day, the wise understand that it is a bridge between worlds. The Bible teaches us that great events happened in these hours. Jacob wrestled with the angel until the breaking of day. Paul and Silas sang hymns at midnight when the prison doors flew open, and Jesus often sought the Father in the early morning, far from distractions. Do you see the pattern? The pre-dawn is not just a chronological time, but a spiritual space where the supernatural manifests with greater intensity. Solomon used this time not just to pray, but to align himself. He believed that in the silence, God's voice became clearer. When the world sleeps, distractions cease, and the heart opens to what truly matters. It is in this instant that we can plant the images of the future, write in the book of the subconscious, and release spiritual decrees that will shape the days to come. Perhaps you are wondering, but how can I practically apply this in my life? It is simple, but it requires a decision. It is not enough to just listen. You must practice. When night comes, disconnect from the noise. Quiet your heart. Focus your attention on what you wish to see manifested. And above all, feed your mind with gratitude. Because gratitude is the language that opens the heavens. Now, we arrive at the deepest point of this video, the third revelation. And I want you to stay with me because this is precisely where the secret that can turn the key in your life lies. Solomon had a habit of sealing his nights with words. He knew that words are not just sounds but spiritual seeds. The Bible declares that death and life are in the power of the tongue, and Solomon, being the wisest man on earth, understood this better than anyone. He knew that as he fell asleep, His mind would be open like fertile soil, and whatever was planted with words would be multiplied. Therefore, he released blessings, decreed prosperity, and spoke life over his house and his future. It was as if he were writing a letter to his own tomorrow, and this letter was answered by the universe, aligned with the will of God. Now, imagine if you started doing the same. Imagine if, instead of going to bed murmuring or complaining, you lay down declaring that tomorrow will be a day of opportunities, of divine encounters, of unexpected prosperity. Imagine if your last words before sleep were seeds of victory. Do you perceive the power in this? Tomorrow would no longer be a product of chance, but the result of a conscious choice, guided by divine wisdom. This is the most powerful secret of all. Using the pre-dawn as an altar of creative words. When you combine the silence of the early morning, a grateful heart, and a declaration of faith on your lips, what happens is a spiritual explosion. The heavens move, the subconscious is reprogrammed, and the life around you begins to align with what you have declared. This is why many do not yet live in the fullness of abundance, because they have not learned to use the power of what they speak at the most sacred time of the day. And here, I want to reinforce something important. If you truly wish to deepen this practice and take your life to another level, be sure to access the special material I've left in the first pinned comment. It was made exactly for people who want to expand their consciousness, activate the law of manifestation in a practical way, and turn the invisible into visible reality. This supplement will further accelerate what you are learning here. Notice how all of this connects. Solomon shows us that prosperity is not just the result of human effort, but of spiritual alignment. He understood that the pre-dawn was the fertile ground where tomorrow was planted. And when we unite this biblical principle with the understanding of the law of attraction, we realize there are no limits to what can be manifested. The question is, will you continue to waste the power of the early morning, or will you decide to use it as Solomon did? Will you continue to leave your mind to chance, or will you consciously plant the dreams you wish to harvest? The choice is before you, and the moment to decide is now. We have reached the point where everything connects. Perhaps throughout this video, you have felt something different, as if a key were turning inside of you. This happens because when we receive a spiritual truth, something within us awakens. And that is what Solomon's secret does. It awakens in us the awareness that the pre-dawn is not just a time, but a portal. It is not just the silence of the world, but the sound of the Spirit calling us to align our lives with the divine plan. By now, you know that the way you go to bed determines the way you wake up. You have understood that what Solomon did before sleeping was not a simple ritual, but a spiritual technology that combines the power of the mind, the silence of the early morning, and the creative force of the Word. He knew that every night could be an encounter with abundance, and that every dawn could bring answers because the pre-dawn hours had been well used. And perhaps you are realizing something. Life never gives us what we ask for with our lips alone, but rather what we cultivate in our hearts. If you go to bed carrying fear, your subconscious will multiply fear. If you go to bed with gratitude, you will multiply blessings. If you fall asleep complaining, life gives back reasons to complain. But if you surrender in faith, align with the divine, and declare life, the universe responds with signs and open paths. This is the true secret that Solomon applied. It is not just about praying, but about preparing to receive. It is not just about asking, but about sowing correctly. Because what happens in the early morning doesn't end there. It continues to echo throughout your day, in your relationships, in your finances, in your health. It is a domino effect. And the first piece always falls when you close your eyes and surrender your mind to what you wish to harvest. How many times have you felt that the next day seemed doomed before it even began? How many times have you woken up already tired, without hope, as if life were just a repetition of problems? Perhaps this happens because your nights have been used to feed what no longer serves you. But today, you have received a revelation that can break this cycle. And the good news is you don't have to wait for weeks or months to see changes. If you decide to apply this today, you can already notice transformations in how you wake up tomorrow. Imagine what your life would be like if, night after night, you planted only seeds of abundance, peace, and prosperity. Imagine if, instead of surrendering to the weight of worries, you surrendered to the certainty that the Creator is guiding your steps. Imagine waking up to clear signs that something has changed, unexpected doors opening, significant encounters happening, solutions appearing where it once seemed impossible. This is the power of the pre-dawn. It is the difference between living on autopilot and living intentionally. It is the difference between being a slave to circumstances and becoming the creator of your own reality, guided by wisdom from above. Solomon was called the wisest man who ever lived, and the wealth he accumulated came not just from human strategies, but from spiritual practices that opened invisible pathways. Now, you too have access to this same wisdom. But I want you to understand one essential thing. It is not enough just to listen. If you do not apply it, everything that has been said here will be lost like the wind. The transformation begins the moment you decide to put it into practice, starting today. And remember, the last revelation you heard, the power of words in the pre-dawn, is the key that ties everything together. It is what closes the circuit. If you go to bed declaring life, prosperity, health, and blessings, you are releasing decrees that the heavens cannot ignore. Therefore, make the choice to no longer waste your nights. Use the early morning as Solomon did, as an altar. Prepare your heart in gratitude, surrender your mind to the divine, and seal with creative words what you wish to experience. You will find that nothing will be as it was before. Tomorrow will cease to be a frightening mystery and will become the answer to a well-sown faith. And here is my final invitation. If this content has touched you in some way, if it made sense and opened your eyes to something you hadn't realized before, then I want to ask you to subscribe to this channel right now and leave a like on this video. It is through this that we can bring this message to more people who, just like you, need to awaken to the power they already carry within them. And don't forget, in the first pinned comment, I have prepared something especially for you that will further expand on everything you've heard here. If you wish to live not just from knowledge, but from transformative practice, go to the comment and access it. You have in your hands the chance to change not just your nights, but your entire life. Solomon's secret is now before you. What will you do with it? The decision is yours. But remember, tomorrow is already being written in the stillness of tonight.